Okay, so here we go. Gamma rays and X-rays. What do you need to know? There are 4 things you need to know. Okay, the first thing is you need to be able to describe how X-rays pass through some materials, but not others, and how this can be used to see the internal structure of objects. Okay, so how can we describe this? If you look at the projector here, it's producing light similar to X-rays and gamma rays in the fact that it's an electromagnetic wave. You see the light gets produced by the bulb, and you can see the shadow being cast. Okay, that's because the light cannot pass through my hand. X-rays are different. Okay, X-rays can pass through flesh. They can't pass through bone because bone is too dense. It's got calcium in it, and so those X-rays cannot penetrate the bone. So the shadow produced, if that by my hand, if that light was producing X-rays instead of light, would be different. You would see the shadow of my bones instead of the shadow of my whole hand and the flesh blocking the light. Okay, so that's how X-rays are formed. And you just put some sort of film, instead of having a screen here, you could put some film that was sensitive to X-rays, and then you develop that film, and that would be your X-ray. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to know: how X-rays pass through some objects, things like flesh, but they cannot pass through other things like bone because bone is too dense. List some uses of gamma rays. Have a look at your book on page 284. There are some uses of gamma radiation: to kill harmful bacteria in food, to sterilise surgical instruments, and to kill cancer cells. 3. Describe the effects of gamma rays and X-rays on living cells. Okay, gamma rays and X-rays are towards the right-hand side of the spectrum. That's the high energy end of the spectrum. And therefore it is ionising. Ionising. What does ionising mean? Okay. Well, look at the atom. There's a picture of the atom. The middle bit is called the nucleus. It contains neutrons and protons. The bit around the outside is the electrons. Okay. Ionisation basically means to do this, where the electrons are ripped away from the nucleus. Okay. So imagine tearing apart an atom. Okay. You can do that with ionising radiation. You can do that with X-rays and gamma rays because they're very energetic. They're towards the right-hand side of the spectrum. So if you shine X-rays or gamma rays onto, say, your cells, then you can ionise the cells, rip apart the electrons from the nucleus, and that's a bad thing. If you do that to your DNA, it's going to affect all the genetic information that tells your cells how to reproduce themselves and how to design themselves. If you're ionising that DNA, then you're going to get cancer because you're going to have problems with the genetic information. So there you go. Describe the effects of gamma rays and X-rays on living cells. It can cause cancer. Explain in detail how gamma rays and X-rays damage cells. So that's really what I've just been talking about, how it basically ionises the DNA, the genetic information that your body uses to copy its cells, to reproduce cells, and it goes wrong basically, and you get cancer. So that's everything you need to know for gamma rays and X-rays.